Jared Waters, two-time wrestling champion, stand-up comedian, host of the podcast One Man, One Tree in the Hill. We have a special guest calling in, or I'm going to call in, is my dear friend Lauren Brown. So we're going to call her and see what she says. Here we go. Let's call this gal.
All right.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Oh, no. Please, no.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got my dear friend Lauren Brown. Lauren, what's up? How are you, madam?
I'm doing good.
It's been, let's see, the last time I saw you, I would say 15 years ago, 2006.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Long time. How's life going?
It's going good, man. I can't complain. Blessed.
That's good. Blessed and light skin, folks. Blessed and light skin as well.
Gang.
Yeah. This podcast, Lauren, if you didn't know, it's a podcast about being alone with your own thoughts, right?
Oh, word.
So I know we've all had been alone with our own thoughts. For the people who don't know, I met Lauren 15 years ago in the Netherlands. We both went to this high school called Afnorth International School. I think we both got there at the same time, right?
Yeah, no. Wait, hold on. No, I think you was there before me.
No. I got there the summer of 05.
You sure?
I got there my junior year. Yeah, we both moved there at the same time.
No. I was there. Yeah, you're right.
I got the memory of a whale. I be remembering things.
I didn't know Wells had good memories.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I never met one before, but I heard it's good there. You must be deep in the country. I hear I see them. I hear them. I hear them things twitching.
What things? Oh, yeah, the bugs.
Yeah. What part of the country you in? Where you at?
South Carolina.
How's it going? You guys corona free? You guys social distancing? What y'all doing out there?
Man, social distancing, but nothing like New York. It's not as many people on top of each other out here.
You've been to New York before, right?
No, I have not had the privilege to be there.
What is it like with you guys looking in? What does it show about New York? Because I'm here. What is it like when y'all see the news out there? What is it showing?
Nobody outside, which is abnormal because most of the time when you see New York, you see a bunch of people going places, doing things, smoking crack, all that good stuff.
I live in.
There's not a crackhead outside right now. That's what I know.
Trust me, there's crackheads out here. I'm out here. There's I think they're showing like Times Square. They're showing like where all the tourists are. But I live in Harlem, so there's people out in the street, out at the park and stuff like that. That's probably why it's spreading, because nobody in New York really likes their. I like my place, but a lot of people don't like their family, so they're just always outside.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, I'm outside. I'm trying to get away from my family, so as you can hear the dogs barking in the ghetto in the background.
So let's go. So your mother was in the military, correct?
No, it was my father.
Your dad was.
Mhm.
But your pops, and you have a baby sister, right?
I have a baby sister and a baby brother. Yeah.
But he wasn't. Your baby brother was like, that's 15 years ago. I remember he was like, what, 5 or something like that? He was, how old is he now?
Yeah, he was really young when we were at Afnorth. Yeah, that school was like K through 12, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was like 4 schools put together. They had like a middle school to the right, a middle school on the second floor, a high school to like the left when you walk in, and then they had like, it was like a shopping center a little bit. You walk in, to the right is an elementary school, upstairs is a high school, and to like forward is like a middle school.
Yeah, I remember that elementary school hallway. Me and Brittany went down there one time.
Dang, which Brittany? It's been a long time since I heard from some Brittany's.
Oh, McClure.
Oh yeah.
Brittany McClure?
She's out in Texas. I think she's in Texas. I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure where she's at.
Well, you gotta hit them up. When's the last time you guys said hello?
Oh man, years and years and years.
Ooh. I was just sitting out there talking about it. We're going to go back, but before we go back, we go forward about sometimes We never know what anybody's going through. Instead of like reaching out and saying hello, nobody really does it. We just like a picture on Facebook instead of saying like, "Hey, what up?"
Yeah, that's true. I try to stay off of Facebook though.
Or Instagram, something, to contact somebody. When's the last time you spoke to anybody that you went to high school with, or anyone that you were close to?
Nothing, man. I was doing social distancing before social distancing was a thing. I mean, when that illness hit me, it really hit me.
Let's go back before we get to your illness. Let's talk about where you born. Where you from?
I was born in North Carolina.
What part?
Jacksonville.
Dang, near Camp Lejeune.
Yep, Camp Lejeune.
Dang, straight them country boys out there in Jacksonville. That's where some of my cousins live.
Oh wow. So, yeah, you knew it. You knew it right off the bat.
Yeah, as soon as you say Jacksonville, Camp Lejeune, yeah, it's the Marine base, right?
Yep.
Was your pops a Marine?
Yeah, my biological father was a Marine, and then he switched over to the Green
Beret.
No, not beret.
Oh, the Army. Sorry.
Raspberry beret. No, I'm just kidding.
The kind you find from a secondhand store. Prince. So what fondest memories do you have growing up? Do you remember, as the oldest child, what do you remember? Do you remember growing up in North Carolina, or did you move around?
Moved around. Most of my life spent moving around.
What was I think sorry, go ahead.
I think the fondest memories I have, though, is when we lived in Hawaii. That was a good time.
How old were you when you were in Hawaii?
Yeah, that was a good time.
How old were you when you're in Hawaii? What age were you?
Oh, dang. Had to have been, 10, 11? Maybe younger than that.
What's your earliest fond memories of moving? Because I feel like, as being like, I say like military brats, we have this unique life of just everyone moving around the world, but you have to adapt fast and you have to like make friends fast. I feel like we have an ability of reading people a whole lot faster than other people.
Yeah. You wanted my earliest memory of moving?
Yeah. What's your earliest memory of moving?
Had to have been when we were living near Baltimore, I think it was, and I remember the snow, and I remember my mom putting these really big, the really big puffy jackets. Like, she must have put 3 jackets on us to go outside and play in the snow. And I remember my sister, she was crying because she couldn't move, and that's like my earliest memory of moving.
And then it's just every 2 years, every 3 years, it's moving to a different place, right?
Yep, I can remember them all.
So you go from Baltimore to Hawaii.
To Georgia. To the Netherlands, and then came back here to South Carolina for high school to finish out high school. And then I ended up going to college here, too.
So let's go back. You be jumping. You be going so fast. Let's go through middle school. What was middle school like? This is your life. We want to like my whole goal of this is like a time capsule of Lauren. So like when someone's like a time capsule, let's go through those thoughts and see what was it like. So let's go through. What are your fondest memories of elementary school? Do you remember that?
Oh man, yeah. My fondest memory was having this crush on this guy named Joshua, Joshua Bird. And I used to follow Joshua around like a puppy dog. I mean, when I remember the first time I met him, you know how kids they do little stuff like, I bet you can't run faster than me. I bet you can't climb this tree higher than me. We used to do stuff like that, and man, I miss him.
I believe it. I can hear it.
he ended up dying in a motorcycle accident.
When you guys were kids?
Huh?
He died when you guys were kids in a motorcycle accident?
No, he died, I want to say 5 years ago.
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
So what?
We never got to see each other again.
Do you Do you, when you were in elementary school, do you remember like having friends? Do you remember like just being like a lovable person? Do you remember your thoughts then? Because it had to be
Um,
strange being like that military kid, knowing that every 3 to 2 years you got to bounce and go somewhere else.
well, I think so. We can move on to what when I moved to Georgia. That was when the kids got rougher. My dad was stationed at Fort Gordon, and we lived in Augusta. And I used to remember the kids always thought that we had such a privileged life because we moved around, or they thought that we had more than we really did. But on an E4 salary and a whole family, that ain't much money. And
E4.
um, yeah, that's not much money with 3 kids and a wife. But the kids, they picked on me, and I used to escape. That's when I really started drawing. So I don't know if you like Dragon Ball Z or not,
Come
but
on, don't disrespect me right now. Don't disrespect me right now. I'm a Vegeta dude
but
all day. Vegeta over everything.
oh man, yeah, I enjoy drawing Vegeta. Goku not so much. I never liked his hair, but I started out drawing. It was this kid named Pedro, and oh man, Pedro's ability to reproduce, anything that he saw. He almost had like a photographic memory, the way that he was able to draw faces. And
So this is probably like fifth. This is fifth grade. Say that again. This is fifth grade. Sorry.
oh my bad. I
This
was
has to
just
be
taken
sixth
back.
grade because if it's Dragon Ball Z, no, it's probably fifth grade for you.
Yeah, it was elementary school.
Yeah, fifth. So do you? So
I'm
it,
bouncing around a lot.
no, it's okay. I'm gonna make sure that you're right. So we get through elementary school, and you're dealing with just kids being bullies, and it's hard. I say it's harder growing up down south because some people just don't understand the military lifestyle unless you're near a base. You know.
Yeah.
Because I had that same situation when I was in North Carolina. These kids are like, "Oh man, Jerry, you talk like a white boy," and I used to tell my right, like I was like, my grandma was like, "No, it's just because you talk like you got sense. That don't mean you white. Just go up there and fight him." I'm like, "This ain't the answer, grandma."
Grandma was like, "Wear him out." Oh,
Right? She was
okay.
like, "Just on sight." But I remember those days of just like that's why I was always roasting people because I knew as soon as I got to school I had to be ready. And then I was just like more embracing stuff like that. Like, yeah, you look out your dad's car. I was like, yeah, yeah, but look how small your house is. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, all right, here we go.
So you use comedy to adapt to the bullying, and I used artwork to adapt. Yeah, that's cool.
The drawing. And it's
Yeah, that's really where it was at. I used to just spend my time in class drawing, but I didn't really have to pay attention because I wasn't being challenged already. So I just would draw.
I think it's a unique aspect of like how kids all like every kid like kind of had that same thing where we knew our parent we didn't know the level of our parents' success, but kids knew it and we didn't know that. Does that make sense?
You said we didn't know the level of our
It
parents'
was
success, but kids knew.
but it was normal. Like it was just like we just thought it was normal to move around, but they knew like nah, something's up with them if they're moving
Oh,
around.
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that could have been it. I mean, but also too, from our perspective, we saw the sacrifices that our parents make, and we also got to feel the sacrifices that it takes to move from place to place. Every time I made a friend, I had to leave a friend. So,
How did
and
that?
this was back before there was Facebook and all this technology where you can keep in touch with people easily.
How did that feel
So
on you? What was your fondest memories of losing a friend? You were just like, did you ever feel like, oh man, I just don't want to move anymore, or did you get adjusted to it?
no, I don't think I ever adjusted to that. I think I became more withdrawn. So instead of making friends, I became a loner.
I did notice that.
Because it hurt too much to make friends just to have to give them up, you know.
Yeah, freaking, I've been there. So we're in elementary school. Do you have your earliest fondest memory of a teacher being nice to you, or was there anybody that made a positive impact on your life as an adult?
um Dr. Lockman Haynes, and I remember her because I loved her class. I don't know what it was that I don't remember what it was that I loved about her class so much, but you know, you asked me that question, and she's the only teacher whose name that I can remember from that time period. So she must have had, you know, a huge impact. I think the reason why is because of the kid that inspired me to start drawing. That was our class, and you know, so I think that's why I remember Dr. Lockman Hayes so much. She was a character.
So did she encourage the drawing?
She was just a memorable teacher. She was just one of the. She had a really unique look about her. Like her face was always 3 times lighter than the rest of her skin color. And as a child, I noticed that like right off the bat. Like, why did she put so much powder on? You know what I mean? So I remember her because of that. But I think she had some type of medical condition, but that doesn't make it less funny. But anyways, yeah, and she used to tell us these stories about her husband and how rich he was. And as a child, I could never understand why she chose to be a teacher if her husband had so much money. You know, just those questions that kids ask themselves, and paying attention to stuff more than we really need to pay attention to it.
Right. So we go. Okay. So you're from Georgia. Where do you go from Georgia?
That's when I came and met you.
So you're in Georgia till you're like what, 13, 14, 15? You're probably 15. When were you
Yeah,
born?
so
89 or 90?
89.
Oh, we're born the same year.
89, yeah, we're 30.
I'm 31.
You 30. Oh, your
January.
birthday. What month is your birthday?
January.
Oh yeah, mine is in July.
Oh,
So that's why you're 31 already.
Yeah, your birthday's coming up.
It sure is.
So before we get to the Netherlands, what was your family like? Did your family notice that you were like a lot of loner, but how you were more internal? How do they deal with that? Your mother, your cousins, how do they deal with you just being so, I won't say non-talkative, but you it's easy to notice that you're very like a hermit crab a little bit. You stick into your shell until you're ready to come out.
Man, my family life was it wasn't so good. You know what I mean? I mean, like I love my mom and I love my dad, but you know, I was a really willful child, and there was a lot of drama at home. So nobody noticed anything, I don't think. They just saw a bunch of anger. You know, I was very angry at home.
So were you angry at the situation, or were you angry of your relationship with your parents?
Both.
What when did it start? When did it start, the anger with your mom and dad?
Um, After we moved from the Netherlands, you don't know why I had to leave, do you?
I think I left before you, so I didn't know.
Yeah, no, you were there. You didn't graduate there?
Yeah, I graduated, but I thought I remember talking to you, and I'm leaving. I was like, I'm leaving as well.
Oh, really?
What, do you know what month you left?
No, I don't remember what month. It was kind of abrupt.
Yeah, before we get to that moment, let's just get to that moment now. F it, we already there. So why did you leave?
Well, got into a domestic
Dispute.
a domestic dispute with my stepfather and had to leave.
Oh, that's right. He was
And
putting hands on you, right?
yeah, he was rat tat tatting that ass. And I'm sorry, I didn't know if I could cuss or not.
Go ahead. You can be who you really are. This podcast is for the world.
Well, yeah, he was yeah, but yeah, you know, that was happening. And I, now that I'm older, I realize like what was going on. You know what I mean?
What was going on?
The army sucks.
Was it physical abuse or emotional abuse that he was giving to you?
Physical.
And how was that? Because he wasn't your dad. How did your dad feel about that?
Oh man, I mean, shoot, I'm not a mind reader. We wasn't even talking. We wasn't even talking during that period of time. You know, me and my biological father, we didn't start talking until very recently, actually. You know, to the point where we, you know, talk for more than 10 minutes on the phone. So.
Okay, so now it's coming together. So when you grew up, your father, your biological father, was in the military as well, correct?
Yeah, he was.
So when did him and your mother split up? What age was that?
Oh, when I was a baby.
So all you knew was your stepdad, or when did your stepdad come in your life?
I dang. I was very young. I was so young that I actually I don't really remember. I know because my mom tells me stories about when he came into our lives, but I don't remember the first day ever meeting him.
So, but you growing up, you always knew that your stepdad, he was like a dad to you, pretty much.
Yeah.
So he raised you. Your stepdad raised you.
Yeah, my grandparents too.
And then your mom married into she married into a military family, then married back into a military family.
Sure enough did. So she was with my dad when he was a Marine, my biological father. Then they split up and she met my stepfather, and then we moved to our first, once they got married, we moved with him to the very first place that I lived as a military brat.
Got it. So it was your stepdad, the one that was bouncing around from place to place.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm getting it. So when did the spankings happen? When did the spankings turn into like physical beatings? When do you remember that? When do you remember like not wanting to go home because stepdad was ready to tear it up, to tear them legs up?
um, uh, man, I don't remember. That's something about trauma.
You're right.
Messes with your memory. PTSD robs you of your memories, especially ones that were traumatic. So, but I can remember the worst one because that one happened when we were living in the Netherlands, and that was the reason why I didn't get a chance to graduate there. You know, my life could have been completely different if I had gotten a chance to stay at Apnorth.
So let's go straight to that moment. We'll come back where we met each other. So that moment, what transpired? Do you remember that moment? Like what happened? The beating was so bad where you guys had to just completely leave.
It wasn't even a beating; it was a fight.
Yes, that's what it was. I remember because I forgot who your boyfriend was at the time, but they're like Lauren got to go because she be getting the beat down for real.
It was either Pops or Sasha. It was one of the two.
Shout out to Sasha Miller. Sasha Miller is actually in my wedding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's the groomsman in my wedding. Well, we ain't had it yet.
Wow.
But yeah. Okay, this is 2006. You were here your first year, right? But your junior year is when you left, correct?
Yep.
So 2006. Yeah, I forgot who said that. We were like, let's bring Lauren out. Like Lauren, because we're trying to go to like some some club that we all used to go to, but they said Lauren be getting the beat down for real. So you guys got in a physical fight. Do you know what it was over or not? What did mom ever step in and help out, or she was?
She wasn't there when it happened. It happened right before school, and I told him, I said, it's probably not a good idea for me to go to school today, but he made me go anyway. And I ended up telling Brittany.
Yep, it's all making sense now. I remember. Go ahead.
And Brittany took it from there, and I didn't go home that day. I stayed after school, and I remember my mom coming to get me from the school, and she was crying. She was really hurt, because when that stuff happens, your command finds out, and it's just over from there.
So
yeah.
At the time, did you thank Brittany, or you felt like you were kind of betrayed a little bit? What did you feel? What was going through your mind?
Oh, no, not at all. I was going home with Brittany, and that's when my mom came and got me. I wasn't going to go back home. I was going to go and stay with Brittany and her mom and dad and her brother.
So when you get home, what's it like when your mom takes you home? Is dad taken to like OSI? Is he taken to like a holding thing, or they just remove him? What do they do?
You know what? At that point, memories black out.
Wow.
So whatever happened, it was traumatic enough for me to black out all of that. I don't even remember the process. I just remember being like, I don't even remember telling anybody goodbye or being like, I have to go. I just remember we moved here.
I can
That's
tell you
what I remember.
I can tell you what I remember.
Oh, okay, cool.
I remember that you came in, and did you have stuff on your back or something like that? Like welts on your back or something?
No, I had a bruise on my face.
Yeah, so
I think I had a bruise on my face.
You're walking towards the hallway, right? You're walking towards the hall, and you didn't say anything. And I was like, "What's up with her?" We were just like saying, "What up?" And then Brittany like comes over there and hugs you, and then takes you to like that's the German pod or whatever y'all went to.
Mhm.
And then y'all started talking. So I thought Sasha hit you, and I said, "Oh my God, how could Sasha do something like this?"
No, not sweet Sasha.
And he goes, and then I was just effing with him. I said, "Look what you did to Lauren, man. You over here dating Ashley, done F Lauren's head up. Look at it." And he goes, "Stop, man. I didn't do nothing like that." But he goes, "What do you see?" I said, "They just walked off and started crying." And then people were coming up to you, and you just like, "I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it." And I said, "Well, let us know when you do want to talk about it." And then we never saw you again. It was just like the girl in Family Matters. We didn't know where she went. She went upstairs.
Yo, they snatched that little girl off that show so quick.
We never heard from Lauren
they
again.
Ran out of money.
We didn't hear enough because I remember when me and you, when we always talk, you said show me your drawings, and you told me you would want to go to Paris, right? You wanted to go to Paris to be an artist.
I wanted to go to Paris so bad. Yes, I did.
So we used to have. I remember when we first met because I was new at the school and you were new at the school, so we'd always just say what up, hi and bye and stuff like that. And it was kind of hard for girls at the school because there wasn't that many men there. So everyone was fighting over the men that were there. But when I came, it was me, my brother, Sasha. We're all new people, so everyone was like, "Oh, we got some new people are here." And then
some new dudes.
Yeah, it was new dudes. It was me. I think Dexter was new too. I don't think it was me, you.
Yeah, Dexter was new. Yeah,
new too. But he was kind of there before, so he knew all the people there. But it was just like brand spanking new was me, you, Sasha, and my brother. And I remember just saying, "What up, hey?" And you're like, "Hi, hi." You're like, "Hi." And I was like, "What part of Carolina?" Oh, I think we talked about Carolina. That's what we did talk about, Carolina. And you had all these drawings, and I was like, "Oh, can you draw?" Yeah, that's what we talked about. Yeah, we're talking about Dragon Ball Z the whole time.
Wow.
Cause I
It's
think
amazing. It's amazing what other people like from other people's perspective. They're part of your memories too, but they have a different perspective of what happened.
yeah,
That's cool.
I think it's because the reason why is because when I moved to the Netherlands, there was this thing called Sky Cable or Sky Network or whatever,
Mhm.
and I finished all of Dragon Ball's GT, and that's what I was like. I already know how it ends. Don't worry. I think that's what I said to you. You were drawing. I was like, "Do you want to know how it ends? Because I know how it ends." And you're like, "No, don't tell me." And I was like, "I just
Yeah,
saw
I
that."
was about to say I probably said no.
You're like, "No, don't tell me." I was like, I just saw how it is. I saw the last episode of Dragon Ball GT, and that's what we just start bonding over there. What was your first? What do you remember of Jared? I'll say what I remember of you. I remember you played basketball. I remember. I remember you. I remember you not. I remember you and Brittany just always hanging out. And I think we were talking about how somebody was jealous of the relationship you and Brittany had.
Okay, so I think I know that person is
It's been a long time. I just remember. I just remember like, I was like, I just see girls like we used to have the hallway. Everybody used to chill in the hall, and me and you would always talk because we were just two cool people, and you would like come and vent a little bit. But I was like, all right, here come your man. You better get up out of here, girl.
I got the Rona. No. Um.
Roll up.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what I remember you.
Okay, break it down for me.
Um. Didn't you wrestle?
Yes, I did. 2-time wrestling champ. It's not about my accolades. You know what I mean? It's not about that.
And you dated you and Sasha used to always be together.
Yeah.
And you
Yes, ma'am.
dated Shayla.
I did at the
That's
time.
what I remember.
Oh, that's all you thought of me. Wow. That's
You two you two were the shortest people at the school. Y'all were the shortest people at that school, I swear. And I was like, you know, that's an accomplishment. So yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah, me, Sasha. I think that's when you and Sasha, y'all dated a little bit because I remember wrestling. Well, I think when we were playing football, and he goes all like, "It's like I'm dating Lauren." I was like, "Lauren, quiet, Lauren." I was like, "How do y'all communicate? Nobody speaks to anybody."
And and the thing I remember about him the most was that he was quiet. That was one person that talked less than I did.
Sasha didn't say nothing, and that's the whole time we kept clowning him. I was like, "Yo, Mills, what does she talk about? She don't say nothing, and you don't say nothing. What?" He goes, "I don't know, man. It just works."
That's funny.
He goes, "I gotta hit him up." I just spoke to him too. I spoke to him in romance, dang near probably once every 2 weeks.
I remember some romance, and I tried to find him on Facebook, and I could not find him on Facebook.
His name has changed. I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Romance is mostly on Instagram, but I'll give you romances. So, do you have any fond memories of? Would you say that Afnorth was? It could have been better, but you were taken short.
Yep. Yep.
Because I do remember
And
you. Go ahead.
when I got here to South Carolina, things just got worse from there.
I think it's hard going from such a open place back to what part of South Carolina were you in?
Columbia.
Oh God. Yeah, you were in them backwoods. You were back in the back of Piggly Wiggly.
Back in the do y'all have Piggly Wiggly up there?
No, ain't no Piggly Wiggly in New York City. No Piggly Wigglies up here. That's straight north the Carolinas and Georgia and stuff.
Okay.
So
well, I didn't know.
So we move. So okay. So you moved to South Carolina. Do you feel like all right? Did your stepdad get out of the military, or he's still in?
He's still in. Well, no. Once me and my mom moved back here before he did. They made us split up. So He did his remaining, I think 2 or 3 years over there in the Netherlands while we moved back here to South Carolina.
So
And then I started going to high school here.
here where?
In Columbia.
So was there any animosity? Was he like upset that you guys did that to him, or did y'all ever talk about it, or you just blacked it out of your memory?
No, that's when the fighting increased, and I started to get kicked out a lot. Kicked out, and oh man, they threatened to put me in a juvenile detention center, and I was angry before, but my anger just hit an all time high when we moved here. I was angry that I was no longer there at North with all of you guys, and so yeah, it got worse.
Let's go there a little bit. Were you ever upset that your mother was still with him? Did you ever feel like your mom chose him over you, or you just knew it was just you and him? We're never
All
gonna.
the time. I was upset with her. Yeah.
Did y'all ever have that woman to woman talk where you had talked to her about it, or it was no talking?
It wasn't talking. It was more like yelling. It was never. There was. There wasn't that time where it's like baby, I understand how you're feeling, and that's understandable that you feel that way considering what happened. Like it kind of came off like this is all your fault. I got blamed for a lot of stuff. I became the black sheep. So
Do you? All right. So stepdad is from where? What part of the South is he from?
he is from Elizabeth City, North
North
Carolina.
Carolina. Oh, Elizabeth City, girl. I know people in Elizabeth City.
What? That's your
Yeah,
place?
I
Wow.
know. Yeah, one of my best friends, Waterbug, lives in Elizabeth City. He used to live in Elizabeth City.
Waterbug.
His name is Marcus Saunders. He got like 5 brothers from Elizabeth City. My friend Davina lives from Elizabeth City. So okay, so do you think, not to take any sides, do you think that your stepdad grew up in an era where they took switches off the tree, they were effing kids up, and they didn't understand that it was abuse, it was child rearing? Did you feel like he didn't know the difference between that?
My stepfather is mysterious, and that's kind of part of his story. I don't know much about his childhood at all. None of us do.
Y'all never spoke to him, but like, hey, how did you grow up? None of those questions ever came up.
No, it's kind of like an unspoken thing. We don't really talk to him about, we don't really talk to him about that. Sometimes my mom tells us, a little bit here and there, but as far as like, the details, of how, considering as much as I know about my mom, I don't know that much about my stepfather.
Are they still married?
Huh?
Are they still married?
Yeah, they are.
How does that make you feel? What does that feel? Have you? Uh, when
It
did
was
you?
awkward.
When did you feel? When did you get the comfortability of knowing that this is not your fault?
Never.
You still feel like that. You feel like you've been outcast in your own family.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Do you love yourself?
I'm working on that. I'm working on it.
Wow.
It's gotta get a therapist.
Have you
Gotta
ever
get a
have you ever
therapist.
went to therapy before and talked to a therapist, or
I started going, and then I kind of flipped out, and I I have healthcare. I'm blessed that I have healthcare. I mean, above all, it's just a matter of going back.
so let's go because I reached out. I Last time I reached out to Lauren, I think I reached out to you. It was I'm gonna do the last time I reached out to you. I'm looking at it right now. Before I reached out to you recently, it was 2000 and, oh, hold on. I'm gonna say it was 2014. 2000. No, I was in college. It was 2009. 2009. I was going by South Carolina. I think I hit you up. I was like, "Hey, I'm going by South Carolina. What are you doing?" And you showed me. Is that when you had your psychotic outbreak? Because you're like, "This is where I live," and you sent me a picture of a shack, and I was like, "This ain't the right place."
No, I don't think that was me at all.
Yeah, so
Cause
I knew that because you were saying like we were like I would hit you up, and then I was like I don't think Lauren. I don't think Lauren know what she's talking about a little bit because you're like, this is my place, and I put it on Google Maps. I said, are you living in a shack right now?
no, I didn't have my psychotic break,
What year
but
did it happen?
I feel like I feel like you just tried to play me, but
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Remember? Do you remember when I called you when I was like I'm in North Carolina, and my grandmother was the one that told me not to go down there. She goes, how you gonna go down to visit somebody in South Carolina and they not even answering the phone?
oh man,
What year?
I think
What year was it?
I wanna, cause I feel like you reached out to me when I was in college here,
I did. I always
cause
I always reached
I
out to everybody. 2009. I'm looking back at the messages. Let's see. 2008. I was like, hey, what's up? How's everything? And you're like, I
you
talked to E a
know,
couple times. I was like, oh yeah, that's my brother.
I was in college, and I could say, like, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that I was a completely different person then. Like,
Oh no no
college
no! I
days.
remember because you pledged. That's why I hit you up.
Yeah,
There it is.
yeah,
Yeah, you pledged, and I was like,
yeah. So
oh,
I
what'd
was
you?
in college.
Yeah, you pledged to be Zeta Phi Beta, correct?
Yep, sure did.
I remember, and you told me because you're ask. We were talking about like pledging and stuff, and then you're like, oh, I pledged. I'm looking for a Sigma man or something like that, and I was like, oh yeah, girl, me too. Because I think I think your line name was Muse.
Muse. It
Dang,
was
I got a good
Muse.
memory, don't I?
You have a memory of a whale. I need to talk to them whales.
Yeah, I remember because I was like, because you were pledging, and I was like, my cousin. I was like, my cousin's a Zeta, and then I was like, oh snap, Lauren's a Zeta, and then we start talking. That's what we start talking again.
Yeah, and I remember you, Romance, and Sasha were together one time when you called me
Yeah.
because
Oh.
y'all were at the beach or something. I remember that fondly because I was like, I was like, I can't with these fools calling me. He calls me every 2 years just to say what's up.
It was I know exactly I know what it is. It was so we all went to Daytona Beach for spring break. It was Sasha went through his breakup, and then Sasha went through a change where he goes, look, I really need to be around my boys. And we were like, all right, well, let's go to Daytona Beach. So we started going every spring break. And one time, Romance was all like, where's Lauren at? I was like, I'll call her right now. I got her number. And I think it was like 3 o'clock in the morning when we called you.
Yeah, it was. I was like, man, these are some fools right here.
Because you're like, what's up? He's like, what's up, J Rad? And I was like, hold on, I got someone to speak to. You're like, Romance.
Yep, yep. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, blast from the past.
I Me and my boy, one of my friends, he passed away, but his name was Shamar, and we would always talk about like always making sure that you call and check in on people. So I like since yeah, I would always do that to everybody. I would at least call in, check in, see how everybody's doing, and just to be all like, if anything happened to me or happened to you, I was like, at least I spoke and had goodwill and spoke to him before anything happened. So I would always go in and check in, and that's when I was like, oh, she's a Zeta, she's pledged, and yeah, that was the thing. You're telling me your line name and stuff like that. And then you're like, I'm in South Carolina. I was like, well, that's not far from North Carolina. I'm actually driving down there because I think I was going somewhere. Going towards Florida? I think I was going towards there. And I was like, hey, I'm stopping by South Carolina. Let me know.
Yeah, so if I sent you an address, it was probably I sent you probably the address of the college because yeah. Because if it was in 2009, I was either in the middle of my sophomore year. I wasn't even staying with my parents then. I graduated from Ridgeview High School in 2007. So yeah, I was in college then.
2009,
So if
2010.
if I sent you an address, it was probably to the college, and the college is in the hood. So it probably was the shack that you saw.
Yeah, Romance was like, I said, Romance, look at this address. I don't know if Romance was with me or somebody. I know we were driving, and I was like, hit up Lauren, see where she's at. We can stop by and see her. And then I was like, nah, man, she sent me an address of some shack. Ain't no, I said, she sent me right down to in the ghetto.
In the ghetto, yes, yes, because the school is in the hood.
So you graduate college. What did you major in?
Studio art.
So you graduate college, and then you go to Colorado, correct?
Um, well, actually, I graduate from college and I enlist in the
That's
military.
right, you do.
Yep,
What did
and
you, Air
then
Force?
yeah,
How long did you serve for?
4.5 years.
And did you leave or
I was medically retired.
you were medically discharged?
Yeah,
So that's when is that when you had your break? That's when you were
yeah,
diagnosed, correct?
yeah.
So what lead us go to the stages before the diagnosis? Like what were the signs that you were picking up or the people around you were picking up?
Um, they weren't picking up the signs, and that's something that me and my mom and my family we talk about. They talk about, did was I showing the signs long before I went into the military? And my memory is terrible. If you have the memory of a whale, I have the memory of a banana. Like
Probably
I,
Dory from the thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Perfect analogy. P-42. What? See, I don't even remember. Sherman.
Wallaby something, right? P-42
I would be
Wallaby Way.
lost. I would be lost in the ocean. But um, I don't remember a lot of things. So when we talk about the illness and we talk about when did it start, a lot of times it starts long before you ever get any symptoms.
Do you with so you were diagnosed as clinically
Diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic.
so what can you does has anyone recalled any of your episodes before? Are they considered episodes? What would they be called? Outbreaks or
Episodes, yeah, they're considered episodes.
what would you say is a documented episode that you probably don't remember that someone told you that you done?
Um, I don't think that anybody has ever told me. Like I said, they just probably thought that I was eccentric because I'm an artist,
Mm.
and I already have a way of thinking that's kind of out there, and so it was hard for anyone to catch it. Meaning, no one caught it. No one thought that the ideas were abnormal because abnormal was normal for me, and it didn't get to the point. Nobody noticed until the military, where it's such a structured and such a strict way of thinking that I was having a hard time fitting into it. I can no longer keep up with the status quo. And then that's when I was diagnosed.
What do you mean status quo? Like what were you doing? Not falling in or like not showing up for like were you AWOL?
Um, no, just it was hard for me to keep up my appearances, my physical appearance. Um, the one of the signs that someone's having a mental episode is usually their personal hygiene declines, and so the upkeep the personal upkeep goes down. It declines. Like, I stopped eating, I stopped drinking water, the personal hygiene fell off. I started falling asleep at work because I wasn't getting any sleep. Sometimes I was up for 24 hours, straight. It was terrible.
So does the commander or your who acknowledges that something's wrong and you need to go get checked out or get, you know what I mean? Who starts acknowledging that?
My supervisor and her supervisor, they they were the closest to me.
Okay.
And when I had my psychotic break, I was at work and I just started crying hysterically. And I was telling them I can't take it. I can't do it anymore. I'm not feeling well. I need to go to mental health. And they sent me into mental health, and mental health said, "Do you think that you need to be checked into um, a facility?" And I told them yes. And so then that's when they put me on a psychiatric hold for a week.
Were you considered Baker acted, right?
Hmm?
Were you Baker act? Is it called Baker acted when you're Baker acted back?
I'm not sure what you're saying.
I heard when you get Baker active. I gotta know what the word. My friend went onto a psychotic episode. It's
Oh,
something
okay.
for B Baker. So you go through the episode. What do you remember your time inside the facility? What was going through your head?
Oh man. I started to hallucinate helicopters. So one of the first hallucinations that I dealt with, auditory and visual, was helicopters. And I mean, I had the hallucination so vivid that I could feel my apartment shake, but there was no helicopter. Like, if you and me were in the same room and you saw me, I would be shaking, like, because I'm reacting to the fact that there's a helicopter, but you would be perfectly normal because there is no helicopter in reality. That's how bad it was.
But
And I kept telling them that these helicopters were following me, and the doctor was ready to acknowledge that they weren't real, but I wasn't ready to acknowledge that they weren't real because they seemed real to me.
wow. So when you say helicopters, did you when you worked in the military? What were you doing in the military? Were you around helicopters, or it was just?
I was around planes. I didn't work with planes. But the so I used to go on YouTube, and I was a bit of a conspiracy theorist, and the helicopters were part of one of the conspiracy theories I think that I picked up on, and then I started to hallucinate them.
Mm, wow. So
It got real.
so what? So as soon as you got out of the facility, is that when they discharge you, medically discharge you?
It took some time. They asked me first, though, if I felt like I wanted to continue, if I wanted to fight it. And I said no. I said no. Go ahead and start the paperwork for my discharge, and so they did.
Wow. Did you ever feel like you failed in the military, or you just felt like this was the move? Because some people, when they get out of the military, they feel like stuff wasn't accomplished, or you felt like your time was served.
No, because my contract was 6 years, and I feel like I definitely failed. And my command didn't help much either. They made me feel like I just wasn't trying hard enough, and they didn't understand that I was sick.
Did you have you talked to the VA? The VA, have you got all squared away there, or?
Oh yeah, I'm 100%. So I get paid every month, and my health care and my medicine is free.
Are you? Do you? Can you work when you're 100% disabled? Can you work and do another job, or you have to?
Yeah, I can do another job. I have a what is considered a chronic illness, so it's an illness that isn't gonna go away. So even if I did work, they acknowledge that I have limitations and that I probably won't be able to go beyond that. But I could still work.
How did you get to Colorado then?
Oh, I was stationed there.
Okay, that's the last time we spoke. You're in Colorado. That's why I was wondering. I was like, yeah, I remember you said you're going to Colorado.
Yeah, I moved when I graduated from college. I went to basic training in Texas actually. So I moved from South Carolina to Texas, and then from Texas I was stationed in Colorado.
Okay, so we get out of the military. We're 100% disabled. Why do you go back to South Carolina if that's where all the pain is?
I don't know, and that's my current struggle. Like,
Are you addicted to the pain? Are you because I would say this. Sometimes they say when like some animals are used to I forgot. No. It's not animal. They said that when they're raising I forgot. I read this example like when they're raising elephants, they tase them a lot. You notice that, right? They put them in cages and they tase them and stuff like that. And when they don't lock the cage anymore, some of the elephants still don't go out because they're reminded of the tasing that happens. So I'm saying, like, since you grew up in that environment, if we consider it toxic, are you addicted to the toxicity? That's why you went back.
I think I am. I ended up in a really well. I just got out of a really bad relationship, and in this relationship, I hit a low. Like, I really hit a low. Like, I ended up in I ended up with an abusive
Man or woman? Because
significant.
I knew you. I know you.
Yeah.
You know you. You played. You played kickball and soccer.
I was terrible at playing soccer. I was better at kickball.
I don't know
No,
which one is which, but is it? Are we talking
I
about when
know
you're with a woman?
that's for me to know.
Oh,
No, I'm
hey.
just
I
kidding.
mean, hey. I don't. My name's Ben and I ain't in it. You know what I mean? Free my dog Joe Exotic.
No, I was with a man, so it was, you know, the rate of domestic abuse and violence in homosexual relationships is just as high as heterosexual,
Yes,
and
I
it's
know
just
that.
as bad.
I used to do a joke about this. I still do the joke, but when I said that the gay pride parade happens in the most violent times in the community because it's hot.
Because it's hot
It's hot. It's 97 degrees out there, and people are getting
and
into
they ain't got no
most.
clothes on.
No, it's not about that. It's like most domestic disputes happen. They always happen in the summer because people aren't working like that, and they be hitting each other.
Well, I know for one thing, this nigga was just being crazy in the winter, so I don't know what
She
his
said the
excuse
winter.
was. Um, but yeah, he peeped that about me too. He was like, "You must like the pain," and that was a low because in some respects, like, he was right. Like, it's amazing how well predators can read their prey.
Yep.
Like, predators are really good at reading people, and it's one of the things that they use to manipulate you. It's because they can see through you. And
Okay,
he peeped that about me.
let's go back. Where did you meet this man? Where was it at? Like, when did you stop dating girls and like I'm about to date dudes? When did you meet? Where did you meet this dude at in South Carolina?
Um, so after I got sick, I I was found. Christ finally found me, and I think he found me
Girl,
at
I didn't
my
know you.
lowest
I was
point.
about to ask that question. Keep going. My bad.
I think he found me at my lowest point, and that's why I stopped dating girls.
Oh,
Yep, that's why I stopped dating women. That's why I stopped dating women. And I said that I was never gonna do that again.
So that's when you're like, I'm gonna go straight with men.
I'm gonna try. I mean, the worst outcome is that I'm just, you know, by myself. But I'm not gonna date women anymore.
Do you do you fear of being alone? Do you not want to be alone?
I'm alone most of the time, and for a while it was working for me.
So you date this dude. What year is this when you started dating this guy? What year are we talking? 2016.
Last year,
So that was the first time you started dating a person last year.
it wasn't. He wasn't the first. He wasn't the first guy. Like, we just went through all, most of my life, and it's not like I haven't dated dudes before, or not that I didn't like them. So I guess at the very least you could say that I was bi, but I it's kind of like riding a bike. Like, if you don't ride a bike
Riding a
for a
bike.
really long time, it's like when you get back on one, you know how to ride it, but you're a little wobbly. Yeah, that's kind of how it is. At least that's from my perspective. It seems to be with me that is something that I have to get adjusted to, because men and women are two different creatures.
Do you think this is a theory that I have? Do you think when you've seen the world from a different point of view that the man that you choose, if they haven't seen the world, it's hard to relate to them? Do you feel like that a little bit?
Yeah,
Because you've been around the
yeah.
world a couple times, you know what I mean? You've seen a lot. So, especially that, I'm not saying everyone in South Carolina is like that, but some people haven't left that state before.
Well, what I realize is that it's a world. That everybody is within. They exist in these different realms or these different worlds, and he he was a he was a felon, and he did 15 years in prison,
Golly.
and yeah, he did 15 years in prison, and so that is a world within itself. And when he got out, he didn't. There's a lot of things about what we like Netflix. Like, he didn't know what Netflix was, and Redbox. Like, what is a Redbox? And this is a phone. What is this? Like,
Wait, did y'all meet
that
when he
kind
was
of
in
thing.
prison?
No, 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 no. He had gotten out. He had gotten out. Like, these are things that I learned about him after the fact. Like, my mom tried to tell me before. She was like, I did some looking, because my mom is like the FBI. She did the homework, which I should have done the homework. There's a lot of red flags in there, but she looked him up, and she was just telling me, like, I can't pull up all of his record, but he has a history of doing this. You don't need to talk to this man. But I think that what was enticing was somebody telling me that they love me so much, and that feeling, I realized that I was lonely. I realized that I was alone, and that I did have low self-esteem. And that's when I realized that I was at a low point, and the abuse, the abuse, you know, that's when the abuse started.
Was he physically hitting you, or was it more like emotional abuse? What was he doing to you?
Both, both. And it kind of makes sense now that I talked about my dad. Like, what woman doesn't have daddy issues? But well, I don't know. You might know some that don't, but um, I know for one that I definitely have those issues that haven't been resolved yet, and I think that healthcare, man. What can we say? Like, everyone needs healthcare, and I'm glad that I will have the opportunity to get better. Speaking to a therapist, because I should have did that before I tried to get into a relationship.
Okay, so When you say this dude was in jail for 15 years, prison for 15 years, so this dude is way older than you, correct?
No, he went. They locked up a 15-year-old.
So he got out when he was 30 years old?
Yeah.
So I'm a I kind of these are theories that I think of. They don't have to be right. Do you think the first time when he assaulted you, you did not say anything? Sometimes I feel like a man will only do what he's allowed to do. Does that make sense? And you allowed certain behaviors, or you never allowed it?
Yeah, I allowed it. I allowed it.
The first
Because
time, the
I
first
didn't
time.
want him
Go ahead.
I
Sorry.
didn't want him to go back to I didn't want him to go back to prison.
Oh, so you felt like it was your fault. You didn't want to feel like the black sheep again.
I didn't want to I didn't want to send him to prison, and he used that against me. You know, he knew that I didn't want to call the police on him when there are definite times where I should have, and I didn't want to have to go through another situation where, yeah, you're right, where I got blamed for somebody's life being over,
So
like with my dad.
your stepdad, did he retire from the military?
He did, but you know, it was one of those situations where you have to get out.
Oh,
You know,
so how many years did he put in before this happened?
um, I think when it first happened, he was at the 20-year mark.
Oh wow. So it was like they were like it's easier to get him out now than to deal with him.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So he wasn't gonna. That was his last stop. When that happened, that was the end of the career. You know, it was like finish the remainder of this assignment, and then retire instead of putting him out.
I'm getting you. I feel like I'm understanding the Lauren Brown story a whole lot more. Tell me if I'm wrong. So in the Netherlands, right? You felt like that was a dream location. That was a dream location because you had dreams of being an artist and you knew how close you were to France and fulfilling your dream as being an artist. And as you were dealing with domestic violence with your dad, when he got kicked out, you felt like if I wouldn't have said anything, I could have completed my mission of doing this.
Yeah, I could have
So
if
that's a
I
lot
didn't
on
say
you.
anything.
That's so you probably felt. How long did you feel like that until you realized like no, I did the right thing?
Well, I never really got the. No one ever really told me. No one ever acknowledged that. That is almost like a period in time where everybody has their own story of how it happened and what happened, and nobody says, Lauren, you did the right thing. No one ever said that.
Am I
No
the
one
first
ever
person that said that?
acknowledges that. Huh?
Am I the first person that said that?
Yeah, pretty much. No one ever says, that he was wrong. That's how they work. That's how my parents work. And, it it just got blown over. Like almost like it didn't happen.
I think
But
so,
I
so.
know it happened.
I think sometimes with our people from the South, they grew up like that, so they expected to the
Sure
next
enough.
generation. They expected like, nah, we took a switch off the tree. Like you can't take no switch off a tree now and whip any but kids' legs, and tell them I'm gonna sting their legs and stuff like that. I think they grew up with that slave mentality of like, this
I
is
think
my
in my
house. Go ahead.
I think in my family's case, it goes with you with the people you trust the most, which is your parents. They're your guardian, your protectors. When the protectors aren't the protectors, but yet they are now the assailants, and that's a theme that runs deep in my family. instead of protecting the children, they are the ones that cause harm, and it's a pattern. And my parents are no different. You know, they try to be. They tried to provide a better life than the one that they had, but they fell short. You know, we all fall short. We all need grace. So um, that's what ended up happening, and I think that, you know, like I feel comfortable, like I can talk to you, but I would never bring this up to my parents ever again. Like, I'm done talking about it with them, and I wouldn't want to go through, cuz it's traumatic, like to have to confront the ugly skeletons in the closet, because just things are said that don't need to be said, and you know, it just, you know, people, one thing that my past abuser, my ex, he would do was he would throw in my face God's forgiveness, that God forgives us, so why can't you forgive me? And he would make me feel like a terrible Christian. You know, he would say, you're a Christian, you're God's child, why can't you forgive me for the things that I do? And that's a whole nother level of abuse, you know. And I kind of feel like, I feel like in some way that that's true, you know. With my parents, if I brought up their abuse, that they will also too say the same thing, you know, say, well, why can't you let it go? You know, I was an imperfect person, nobody's perfect, I made mistakes. And so that's why I would never bring it up again. And it's like I'm frozen in time. It's like nothing ever got, nothing healed. I didn't heal from it. It just, I just put it in a bag and put it in the top of my closet and lock the door, you know?
I I do excuse me, I do understand what you're saying. Would would you say that as you're going through this, and as you've done this, and I appreciate you for doing this podcast, because I feel like this whole podcast is about, I think people learn through personal stories, you know?
Right.
I feel like there's going to be someone out there who's probably dealing with the same thing you're dealing with, and they're going to admire that your strength and what you did to speak up and give your story.
Yeah, we overcome by the power of our testimony, the strength of our testimony. Um and a testimony a testimony in itself contains an antidote. People don't even know that they're taking it when they listen to your testimony, but at the end of your testimony that you give about something that you overcame, because any day that you walk on this earth, you've overcome something. I mean, day to day, I know people are struggling with way more than, you know, than I could ever say in my own personal testimony, but um, they get this sense of relief that they can breathe almost. And I don't give my testimony often. I don't tell people. I don't tell people enough. I've 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 been told that, you know, I'm too private. And you know, when you reached out to me on Facebook, it was because I decided to finally give part of my testimony in a way. And I was surprised at the outreach. And I got a couple of messages on Facebook telling me, you know, that it touched that person, you know, because they can see people are still human, you know, that there's still a human part of people out there. And I wasn't sure what that meant, but I knew that it did something for that person. And I guess that's all we can ask for, really.
I think I'm going to call this podcast The Testimony of Lauren Brown.
Okay.
I got a question for you. When your ex talked about forgiveness, because I was just reading that scripture in Matthew where Peter walked up to Jesus and was like, how many times we should forgive a person? And he goes, and he answers this question before letting Jesus answer, about 7 times, right? And then Jesus goes, you should forgive that person 77 times. So have you forgiven your parents for this trauma? Or how have you, how do you cope with that? Have you forgiven them but not forget? Like, walk us through that forgiveness process.
Um, my forgiveness, and I think that this is just what I think. I'm not even sure. I can't. When you're numb, you can't feel it. Like you can't feel when it leaves you. You know, you're supposed to feel when you forgive somebody. You're supposed to feel that weight come up off of you, and I haven't felt that weight come up off me yet. But
Is that
I
your
don't talk
prayer?
about it.
Is that your prayer for that weight to come up off you? Like, what's is that your prayer for that? Would you like healing inside your family?
I would. I guess that is my prayer. Is that for that weight to come up off me, so that I can stop repeating. Because when you repeat the past, it's something about it that you haven't healed from.
Wow. Okay. So we get to so that we says this is, oh, so we're all caught up to date. This is 2019. So now we're in 2020. You break up with your boyfriend. So my question is, why are you still in South Carolina if you technically don't feel? Are you there because of your ministry? Wait, do you go to uh John Gray's church?
Who's John Gray?
John Gray, the guy, he looks like TD Jakes, big black dude.
Uh-uh.
Oh, what keeps you in South Carolina if there's nothing but pain there? What keeps you there? If you said that you addicted to the pain and you don't want that addiction anymore, what keeps you into that state? Is that comfortability? What keeps you from going back after that dream that you wanted?
Me. Because there's really nothing keeping me here. I got the funds.
You
Well,
got the
I
fun.
got
You
the
got the
funds.
funds. You're an
I
artist.
got I got the funds. I guess it's people telling me when I got sick, people made it seem like I was no longer able to do anything for myself. And I let them. I let them treat me like that. I let them talk to me like that. Like, at first it was hard. I was um I was going through a hard time, but once I got on my medication, and if I stay on my medication, I'm fine. You know what I mean? I'm fine. I
You're like Kanye West.
like Kanye West. Poor little Kanye.
Let's
Poor little
where
Kanye.
where would you want to go? Let's start building our 5 year our next goals. What city or state would you like to go in to further your art career? What state would be the best place for you?
Man, to be honest with you, I would want to go back to Colorado. I had a good time there. I had made friends there. Um, and once again, I left my friends like it was nothing and came here where I have no friends. Well, I wouldn't say no friends. I would say that the environment is very stifling here.
Okay, so why don't you
So I gotta
try
sit down and do the math on
right? But
that.
why don't you try moving instead of going all the way to Colorado? Why don't you try living by yourself first, like a little like an hour away, and see what happens for like a year? You know, are you scared of being by yourself? Are you scared of being alone with this mental illness, or do you like your family being close to you?
um, I like my family being close because I am afraid to be alone with this mental illness. Like when things get bad, I absolutely need someone to check in on me, and I think that my family is afraid for me because the anytime I'm not on my medication, it's a I can't be without the meds, and sometimes I get in my mind that I can do it. I can go without the
Mm.
meds, and that's not a good thing. I finally learned my lesson. The last time I went off my meds is when I met that guy and started getting beat on.
Wow.
So I learned my lesson that that's not it. I make poor decisions when I'm not on my medication.
So, do you have an apartment by yourself, or
No, I'm with my grandparents.
would you want to
I
start?
moved. I had to move. I had to. What ended up happening was I had to move because he would not leave me alone. He knew where I lived and he would show up. And the police said that there was nothing that they could do for that unless there was like an actual altercation. And because
Since
I
you
called
never.
him, I finally did call him,
Oh, that's
and
good.
it didn't even seem right that they wouldn't do anything. But they said that there was nothing that they could do. Like if he showed up and he ran away, there was nothing that can be done for that. He would have to physically be there in order for them to come and do anything about it. So what I did was I moved. I packed all my stuff up. Me and my mom packed my stuff up, and I moved it into a storage unit, and I moved in with my grandparents.
Wow. So you literally just ran for your life a year ago.
Not even a year ago. I'm talking about December, like this December that just passed.
Jesus is Lord.
So yeah, that's what I did. I ran, you know. I didn't know what else to do. When you continually ask a person, you tell a person, look, can you please leave me alone? And they just say, I can't. I just can't. That's what he would say. It's like, dude, like, just leave me alone.
Wow. F. Well, I guess we got this is a. I said this would be a to be continued
Okay.
because there's no really. We haven't solved this issue yet though. You're in South Carolina. He's in South Carolina, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't know where I am.
That's a
That's how
small. That's that
quickly,
state is pretty small. How do y'all not
but
bumping into each other?
I moved. That's how quickly I moved.
Mm. He doesn't pull up at your parents' house or anything else.
He never knew where they lived.
So this whole dating, you guys were a secret
I
then.
thank God. I thank God that I never
Introduced him to your
that
family.
yes, that was a blessing. I had something told me don't. Something said don't do that yet. And I never did, and it turned out that the reason why I never did was because I was gonna have to go and live with one of my family members, and my grandparents spoke to him, and they liked him, and I'm glad that I never brought him by here. I'm glad that that never happened.
Wow, girl, you got a story to tell. Okay, so this is the. We're not gonna say the end, but this is towards the end of the podcast where we ask questions, and I want you to answer these questions as honest as possible. And they're not short answer questions. So however you feel, you can just keep answering them until you stop. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For now, question number one: do you believe in God?
Yes.
When did you start believing in God? I think you went over this, but what happened? What got you to start believing in God again?
Um, when I got sick, when I got sick, and I couldn't believe that my mind had turned on me, and I was always very combative about God. I always had questions about slavery and why did he allow black people to go through what they went through. And it wasn't until I actually started reading the Bible that that I got answers to my questions.
Who's your favorite person in the Bible?
Oh man. Hmm. That's like a trick question. Don't be mad, Jesus, but I like the book of Joshua. But you know what? I think I like David.
Shout out to David. You know what I mean? Killed a couple of giants. David had a good life too.
David ran for his life most of his life.
And that's who you can relate to.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Now I can.
Okay, your favorite verse in the Bible?
Um, I gotta look it up. Can I look it up? You gonna give me a time to look it up?
Yeah, but what's the verse that you think of when you think of the Bible? What's your favorite verse?
It's in Romans.
Romans what? I got a Bible app right here.
I am convinced. Hold on.
Let me go to Google.
I got it.
Go ahead.
For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord.
Come on now. Why is that your favorite? Why is it?
Because I'm a person who deals with feelings of guilt and condemnation. And it just reminds me that there's nothing that can separate me from God. That He got me no matter what.
Okay, question number 4. When's the last time you had a nightmare?
Probably about 2 months ago.
What was that about?
I
Was that
had a
about your ex
dream.
or? Oh, go ahead.
I had a dream that something was standing over me, and I lost my breath. I couldn't breathe, and it looked like it was about to hit me, and then I woke up.
Wait, did you feel like you couldn't breathe in your sleep?
I was like in between dreaming and being awake.
Were you stuck on the ground and you couldn't pick your body up, but you could only open your eyes?
Yeah.
True story. True story. Actually, I had that happen to me before, but I was at this conference called the Kingdom Agenda, what my aunt had, and this African pastor, his name is Pastor Joseph. He told me a story about that. He said that when you feel like that, it's when the angels are like pulling your. He said it's when he said last time he fell asleep at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and every time he woke up, he said he was stuck to the floor, and he said it was like witches or something like that. Some witchcraft was like somebody a witch was doing something over him, and like every time they would pull him, he would wake up because they were trying to like pull his soul out of his body.
Wow.
Yeah, he told me like a whole bunch. He said like there's like a whole bunch of witchcraft in the area, and when you feel like that, it's because like the witches are like holding you down or something like that.
Wow. It was a woman. It was a woman
It happened in the
with
dark.
wet hair.
Was it dark? It happened in the nighttime, the darkest part of the day, right?
No, it happened during the twilight hours, so like it was just before dawn. Well, the sun was coming up, and I was leaving to sleep. I was on my way out, and and it got me. But there was some stuff that happened right before that. There was a bunch of spiders that I was fighting spiders. There was one spider, and then I was trying not to get caught in its web. And then I was like, oh, this is a bad dream. So I was trying to wake up, and that's when I saw the person standing over me. So yeah, I told my granddaddy about it, and my granddaddy, he just kind of He shook his head because he don't like to talk about demons.
Oh yeah, I be sitting there listening all the time. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question. What's your biggest fear?
Man, the feeling of nothingness.
Break that down. What do you mean nothingness?
Um, it's this fear that I have. It's like nothing is real. You ever heard people talk about, oh, we live in a computer simulation and nothing is really real and everything is just an illusion?
I've
That's
heard
a
that.
fear.
Yes.
That's a fear I have. Like it was part of one of my delusions once.
Wow. Okay. When's the last time you had a panic attack?
Uh, Probably yesterday. When I get panicky, I pace.
Okay. All right. So, okay, this is the last. We got the last three questions. Do you believe in soulmates?
Um, yes.
Have you found your soulmate, or have you think you found it in life, or you're still looking?
I'm still looking.
Okay. Here goes the last two questions. What do you think happens when we die?
Man, that depends on you and what you believe before you die.
I'm talking to you. What do you think happens when we die?
I'm going to heaven.
Okay. Now this question,
Jesus.
Yahshua Hamashi is what we call him.
Okay.
That's the Hebrewic way. Okay. This question is a series of questions, right? So this question is called "Who are you?" Right? And when I say "Who are you?" you're gonna keep answering until you stop. This is how it goes. Ask me, "Who am I?" Say, "Who are you?"
Who are you?
Jared Waters. Ask it again.
Who are you?
Stand-up comic.
Who are you?
See, that's how it goes until you stop. Got it?
Okay.
All right. You ready? Who are you?
Lauren Brown.
Who are you?
An artist.
Who are you?
A free thinker.
Who are you?
A child of God.
Who are you?
The best.
Who are you?
Love.
Who are you?
Good.
Who are you?
You got me.
Hey, I truly want to say, Lauren, I really appreciate you for calling into this podcast. And I tell the story all the time, but this is a story that happened in the Bible with David and Goliath. A lot of people, they look at David and they say, yeah, David killed Goliath. But the question that I always pose is, if David knew he was going to kill Goliath with one stone, why did he bring the other stones? Right? So when I was digging in the Bible, I tell the story all the time, is that the reason why he brought more stones in the Bible is because there was more giants out there, and he was prepared to kill, after Goliath, the rest of the giants out there. But the reason why he didn't have to kill any more giants, because other people got excited and started slaying giants throughout the Bible. So your story, right, the stone that you're slaying, the giant that you slay, I truly believe what you're doing and your story and your testimony, the giant that you slayed, has inspired a lot of other people to start doing that and raising up and getting out of certain situations that they've been in, or abusive relationships, or having that type of, to start going to therapy. I really think your story will liberate other people, and I thank you for being like David and giving your testimony and expressing yourself. I truly am thankful for that, madam.
Yeah, I didn't know that this conversation was going to be like this, but I definitely thoroughly enjoyed, you pretty much being a therapist on a podcast.
I told you what this podcast, I told you I'll lead you. I told you it's fun.
You did.
Well, look, madam, don't be a stranger. You got my number now. If you ever need anything, hit me up. I'm in New York City. We got nothing but art here. I'm going to definitely hit you up so you can do some art designs for me. You know what I mean? You got a lot of free time on your hands.
Yeah, I do. I remember you asked for an elephant one time, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I asked for me standing next to Vegeta.
You did?
Yeah, and I guess you forgot. But it's okay. I remind you now. I'm gonna send you the picture. My friend drew a picture of me as a Super Saiyan, and I would like for
Oh
you.
wow.
Yeah, that's what I want. I've been writing the script about a Black Saiyan. Do you watch
Wow.
Dragon Ball Z Super?
No, well, I watched a couple episodes, but I don't watch it like I used to.
No, it's all online. Watch the Tournament of Power. It's real. Trust me, it's real. It's real.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Well, look, I'm gonna fade out. Look, I love you. I love you, and I really thank you so much for doing this. I'm gonna definitely hit you up. One thing about me, I do hit you up. I hit you up maybe by once every 2 years, but I try to make sure that you're always good out here.
Yeah, you do, man. I love you too, J-Rod.
All right, madam. Have a wonderful night.
You too.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was my conversation with Lauren Brown. That was deep. I didn't expect it to go there. There's a lot of things I forgot. That was over 15 years. 15 years when we spoke. But like, you never know what people are going through. You never know. So please, just ask. And I something's put on my heart to reach out to her and say what up. How are you? Everybody that I've ever encountered, I always reach out and say what up. And I thank her for being so honest and so open, and to deal with like her mental illness and how she's pressing forward. I truly appreciate that. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jared Waters. This is the podcast One Man, One Tree in the Hill. I'll catch you later. Stay corona free if you can. All right. Peace.